Welcome to Empowerment Radio. My name is Dr. Friedemann, and I'm so glad that you decided to join me. Empowerment Radio is about giving you the insights, tools, and solutions to address some of the most challenging aspects of our daily lives. So sit back, relax, and empower yourself. Welcome to Empowerment Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Friedemann. Today I want to talk about a topic that's very dear to my heart, as always, and a topic that I also try to convey and teach and help my clients with. And that topic is all about leadership. I had a client the other day tell me, why can I not always feel like I'm feeling on vacation? Whenever I'm on vacation, he said, I'm just like the leader. I make plans, I make decisions, my family is listening to me and following me. I feel empowered, I feel aware and clear on what we want and what we don't want, and I feel really good. But when I'm out of vacation, back home, I just go right back into feeling more like a follower, or at best, that's what it feels like, because more often than none, it feels like I'm stuck. Can you relate to that? Do you also sometimes feel that you're more a follower in your life than a leader? That you somehow feel like there are certain things that you have to do and have to pursue because that's the shoulds in life, rather than really being clear on what your trajectory is, what your direction is. Now, we may feel disempowered, like followers, when it comes right now to the big situations in life, politics, COVID, the state of the economy, the state of the environment. We may feel like that we don't really have a lot of power to take those situations and matters in our own hands. Or maybe outside of that, you feel powerless and more like a follower when it comes to sticking with a job that pays well, but is somehow sucking your light out of the soul. Or that you have to get a mortgage because that's what we have to do. Or you have to think about starting a family because you're already 30. Or you have to start putting money into your retirement fund because you're already way behind. Do you also feel like there are a lot of shoulds that make you feel like there is a certain kind of track that everyone is on and you have to be a part of it? And you don't even ask yourself whether this is really your trail and your journey that you're pursuing. One of the things that really surprises me is that I'm getting a lot of comments on my YouTube page from young people, 12, 14, 18, that are afraid of aging. Now, often they say, I don't want to look old. I don't want to look like my parents. I don't want to feel that I don't have, zest and vigor anymore. I don't want to have the feeling that life gets, almost to the end. So they are already afraid of that. But underneath that, there is also a fear of becoming an adult, because they look at us adults and they say, that's not really fun. You're living a lot with fear and obligations. And there is not a lot of joy. There is not a lot of sense of freedom. And so they more and more are hesitant to follow into the footsteps of their parents. And I think that is where we are portraying maybe to those younger people more a sense that we are powerless followers than really the leaders of our life. Now, being a leader, don't get me wrong, that's not something that's easy. And we can see this right now in politics, where the leadership is all over the place. But there are certain things that we can look to in order to aspire to what being a leader means, which are as simple as that you are empowering, that you are empathetic, that you are communicating well, and that you are willing to gain the trust of those that you lead. Sounds all great, right? Now, when it comes to being a leader of your own life, do you feel like that you are someone who is empowering to yourself? Do you really feel empathetic to when you're struggling? or to your problems or insecurities? Do you communicate well with yourself? And do you really trust yourself? Are you building trust and confidence in yourself? Now, many of you may say, when I think about that, I'm actually not a very good leader. I actually let myself down. No wonder that I feel in general that I'm more like following than really owning my life. Now, being the leader of your life, what does that even mean? Well, what that means is that you make the choices that are in alignment with who you are, with your truth. Whether these are big choices on where to live, career, who to be with, or whether these are simple, small choices on what does my diet look like? How do I treat my body? What is my relationship with my family? How do I want to relate to myself? Being the leader has a sense of authenticity. And for that, it's really important that we are pursuing certain, let's say, steps or keys. I like to talk about keys that really help us to take on that leadership role. Now, first of all, for many, it may be even a new concept. How can I be the leader? But if you ever have thought about, I'm not living my life the way I want to, and I'm certainly not living my life for me, this may be exactly what you need to really gently, but also powerfully take that role of that being your own authority in your life again. Well, what are those 4 keys or steps or skills that we really need to look into? Well, the first one is awareness. We're going to come to that in a moment. The second one is that skill of inner communication, which is a really, really important one. And not a lot of people are really good at it because we are much better in communicating with others than really communicating with ourselves. The third one is reframing. Now, a lot of people have heard about reframing, but don't really know that it's something all of us can do. And in some ways, we already do, but we can certainly get better at it. And it's incredibly powerful to know how to reframe. And the fourth step is building trust in yourself. So all of those skills, when you really hone them, when you take on those skills as daily practices, you will become automatically the leader of your life. So let's get to it. Step number 1, skill number 1, awareness. Now, awareness is, of course, something that, we often hear is the first step to change. It's the first step to empowerment. But what does it even mean, awareness? Do I just stare at my navel and say, well, now I'm aware of, there's a little hole in my belly? Or what is awareness? Well, I find awareness is looking at the blind spots. The things that we do, and somehow we just take them as, well, that's normal, right? Everyone does that, or I have been doing this for years. And we're not realizing how it is really affecting our life. I had a client the other day who told me, and she was someone who really struggled with depression, anxiety, and a general sense of feeling lost in life. So she either numbed herself out, slept a lot, dragged herself to work, tried to find somehow a relationship, love as a way to find fulfillment, and usually just crashed and burned. And when she told me after she really broke through all of these obstacles and now lives a complete different life, she became vegan, she is healthy, she is on a path of becoming a healer herself, and a lot of wonderful things have changed. But what she said was a number 1 thing that she realized she had not, which was awareness. She had no clue of what she was doing to herself. So just notice how you are going through life. Are you always negative? Are you always finding somehow the glass half empty or fault in things that are, happening around you, in the people in your life, in yourself? Are you highly critical? Or are you always somehow expecting the worst? Or do you judge others a lot? Do you feel like you're very quick in dismissing people as, they're not good, they're not trustworthy, and therefore you keep everyone at arm's length? Do you get easily worried or overwhelmed when unforeseeable circumstances happen, when something that you don't really have anticipated occurs, a change, or maybe even, something that you don't really like, and you feel right away that this is too much, and you throw your hands up in the air and feel, I can't deal with this. In the vigilance of life, you want to observe that you're doing things on a routine basis, almost like an old program that you're running, that keeps your life in a disempowered way. And disempowering things, disempowering patterns, are patterns that ultimately make us not feel that we take ownership of our life, that we are more the followers. And so one of those disempowering things can be the judgment of others, the gossiping about others, or constantly feeling judged, constantly telling us the story that other people don't like us. A lot of people are feeling that they are stuck in the past by rehashing over and over the regrets or the unfairness or the injustice that was done to them. Many people are looking in the future as something they don't want to even enter into. So that's a pattern of just anticipating something bad happening or something just repeating itself without any hope for betterment. There is a feeling of, just feeling without any options, without any possibilities, always telling yourself nothing's going to change, I can't really do anything, and I have tried everything. And that is another pattern that you want to be aware of. Making other people bigger than yourself, feeling they know better, they have it figured out, they are more powerful, you're just a small little mouse that basically can, hide out and do nothing to, really advance in life yourself. Maybe there is this feeling of wanting to control everything in your life, feeling not really at ease with just letting life flow, but wanting to know everything and wanting to control everything. That may be a pattern that you have, or the pattern of pushing yourself very hard, always to the next goal, always to the next goal, always feeling like, once you reached it, it's not enough. I have to go to that next level. These are all patterns that you want to be aware of. And once you're aware of those patterns, notice how they get you into an autopilot mode, how you have been just continuously in that way of going through life without really noticing that there are alternatives. Notice that these patterns are also something that's reflected in your thoughts, or reflected in your behavior, in your emotions, in your relationships, in the results in your life. Be just aware without judgment. Don't beat yourself up about this awareness step. This is just realizing I'm looking how I do life. Am I doing life in a way that is empowering, that is showing me that I own it, that I take responsibility for it, that I take really that sense of I will make the best out of it? Or am I approaching life much more in this is how it is how it is, and there is nothing I can change about it, and don't even see how I more and more lose my power and lose my sense of self? I had a client the other day who told me that she cannot handle life, and that's a story that she has told herself for over 10 years. And so she tries something, she has an idea, she pursues it, but when there is a first obstacle happening, two things occur. One is that she stops immediately in the tracks, telling herself, see, I knew it. And then she beats herself up. She already feels bad, but then there is a self-barrage for at least 2 or 3 days on how stupid she is and how many mistakes she has made. And she wasn't even aware of what she was doing. So it wasn't the obstacle that was the problem. It's the pattern of how she was responding to the obstacle that kept her stuck for over 10 years. And even though she did a lot of things that she did really well, she didn't realize how often she actually ignored those things and only focused on those that were confirming this idea that she couldn't handle life. So when you have awareness, just making some notes maybe throughout watching yourself a month or so. Notice what are the beliefs behind that. How do I need to believe in order to do that? Not good enough, not safe, nothing's going to change. I will always be ... What are those limiting beliefs that keep you in that more powerless following role, following role, rather than being that leader in your life? And then we're going to go a step deeper after the break, which is looking at how that translates in how we talk to ourselves and how we can change that. We'll be right back. Hi, Dr. Friedemann here. Thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. If you're interested in learning more about fear and anxiety, here you'll find guided meditations, webinars, and interviews with some of the most renowned experts in the field of empowerment. Delve into the over 230 videos and more to come every week.